I don't want you to miss this part of the video that I just recorded. I wanted to add this separately because we're going to know we're just like Jonah. Jonah was a believer, a man who worshiped and called on the name of God. He was a believer, and God had a mission for him. He had a mission to go save 120,000 people's lives by delivering a message to this town that was going to be under judgment because of their severe sins. We are believers. We worship God. We are on an assignment too. We don't know exactly what it is, but as believers, we are supposed to go out there and spread the good news and talk about the gospel. Even if you are afraid to talk about your testimony and your personal story, it is still your job as a believer to spread the gospel. You just reading words from the Bible, it makes a huge difference. You may not read perfect. You may not think that you can do this, but yes, you can. Because what did Jonah? Jonah was afraid to follow the assignment that God gave him. And when he did that, God created storms for him on the sea as he tried to run away. And maybe you are going through some storms right now in your journey because you're choosing to not surrender and follow the path that God has for you. You're still trying to run the other direction, trying to figure out things on your own. We can use Jonah's example. And while we're using that example, oh my goodness, I'm going to read this part right here. Jonah was trying to escape. He wanted to sleep through his mission. Instead, the people were upset and they were like, what should we do? And Jonah knew it was his fault that these people's lives were getting ready to be jeopardized because he chose to be a believer and still not speak and still sin under God's will for his life. The sailors were terrified when they heard of this, for they already told him he was running away from the Lord. Oh, why did you get in there? And they groaned. Moving down. Throw me into the sea, Jonah said, and it will become calm again. I know that there is terrible storm and it is all my fault. Sometimes we're going through some storms still as believers and we're not moving past certain areas on our journey and we're staying stuck in some seasons because we're still allowing that storm to control us because we're not allowing God to control us. Oh my goodness. And so the ones who were not believers said, then they cried out, oh Lord, Jonah's God, oh Lord, they pleaded, don't make us die for this man's sin. Oh my goodness, that's a deep scripture right there for me because we as believers, we are to be helping people in the darkness. We're supposed to be going out there spreading the good news. We are responsible for the lives of these people who are still stuck in darkness. You as a believer, you are no longer stuck in darkness. So it is your duty to go help people, to open your mouth, even if it's just to speak the words and the gospel, because they are God-breathed words. There is just power in scripture alone. You don't need to share your personal story if you're afraid to do that. Start off with the words of God. Oh my goodness, because just this alone can save many people's lives. But Jonah didn't want to listen. And these people who have not found God yet, who did not know their God, they begged to Jonah's God, don't make us die for this man's sin and don't hold us responsible for his death. Oh Lord, you have sent this storm upon him for your own good reason. Sometimes these storms we're going through in our journey as believers are for God's own good reason for us because we're not listening to him. Then the sailors picked Jonah up and threw him into the raging sea, and the storm stopped at once. The sailors were all struck by the Lord's great power, and they offered a sacrifice and vowed to serve him. I had to just break that part up separately because we as believers, if we're not sharing our personal testimony, we should be opening up our Bibles and sharing God-breathed words and scriptures for someone to hear them. We should not be holding on to them because we have a mission. We have an assignment from God as believers. You are a new creation now. You are a new creation now. And Jonah had many lives that he was going to be saving in the future. 120,000. Imagine with you just reading some scripture, how many lives you can save just by the words of God from the Bible. I just had to share that. May peace be with you.